Today we're going to go over some details I have missed on Lorcana and some stuff I've also discovered. In my previous video where I react to the details as a Magic the Gathering player, there was a couple mistakes that I made and I want to correct them here. But there's also mistakes that we've noticed on some of the cards coming forward and changes. So it is well worth to scoop all of this as one. But before I get completely into this video, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all the good YouTube things. And if you know someone that's excited about Lorcana or is just looking for a new trading card game to get into, Lorcana has the hype. I'm going to be covering it as much as I can, so please share this out with them. I will also have a playlist set up as well. First off, I made the reference that one of the starter decks was possibly the Prince from Sleeping Beauty. It's been since pointed out to me that it's actually Aladdin. I hadn't looked at the background of it, and when I originally was looking at the art that I was looking at was like from an IGN article, which didn't show the same background as what's shown on the starter deck. So Aladdin's there, but now it leads me down another rabbit hole. Is Aladdin the long lost sibling or long lost brother or family member to Sleeping Beauty's prince? There is now also a updated change between the two trailers that have come out, actually giving us more details into the cards for those with the keen eye. Almost like a Retta happened with a bunch of Lorcana cards. Something has changed in the world of Lorcana. Now, first off, we've got the very bottom where they've removed the first edition. Those were the specialty cards that were given away at the Disney Expo. And now it's replaced with a different symbol, giving us an idea on what the possible rarity is of these cards. As you can also see on Hook here, there is a rarity change, or at least added to it as well. Other things I got to note here is they have replaced the illustrator text with a little marking on the bottom. They've changed a little bit of the Disney Lorcana trademark at the bottom of it as well. And they've also given us a set number where Captain Hook here is 174 out of 204. And another note on this one in particular is they've changed the way Challenger works. If you can see it there in the middle, on the first version of the card it says when challenging. On the second version, the newer version, the one that will be in the booster packs, it now says while challenging. This is a big note because while and when mean two different things. When doesn't drop off on a card, where while is only during the duration of the challenge. Now, I believe challenge is going to work very much the same as like attacking in Magic the Gathering, so it's very different. They've also changed a little bit of the flavor text, like a little bit of just nuance font changes, but there's also a little bit of a change here on the right-hand side of the cards. You can see a little bit of an indentation on the top and bottom of where the ability is, showing that little symbol there. And I believe that symbol there is a resource for the game, and I will get into that very soon. And once again, we have on Robin Hood showing us a symbol at the bottom. Now, the symbol at the bottom on the Robin Hood shows it as more of a silvery symbol, so I believe this would be an upshift in a rarity slot from the other two. Hook and Elsa didn't have this. It looked like a very white and plain. So I don't know if there's going to be multiple symbols for a common in this sense, or if there's a different level of commons in this. Silver usually in most games represents a uncommon in that sense. It could be something more of a lower slot rarity as well, which is very difficult to know at this point until they actually come out with some sort of guide for the game. Everything has to be speculative at this point. Now, the other thing that we got to note here is under Good Shot for Robin Hood, during your turn, this character has evasive has now changed to gains evasive, meaning the evasive could be taken away by other cards, where the has invasive would mean it is perpetual. It doesn't leave. It doesn't go away. There isn't a way to drop it off. So I gotta say, the first edition cards, because they are a first printing, and now they've done an update to those printings are even going to be more valuable in the sense because things have been errated. We saw this with Magic the Gathering as the sets progressed. When you went from Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, 4th edition, you saw the text change each set just a little bit until they got it right on the current versions of cards. So this is something that continues to go, it continues to evolve in these games, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more changes from what we already know out there. And now we have both of the two Stitches here. If you're wondering where I'm getting this is from the two different trailers that have come out for Lorcana. There was the first trailer that came out when the game was announced, and now there is an updated trailer from the website on the cards where the product details are. If you can see here on Stitch, there's a minor change as well on his Shift 4. You can see on the first version, it says you may pay 4 star, meaning they didn't know what symbol they were going to reference this in the first place, to play this on top of one of your Stitch characters. Now, it is you may pay 4 would be resource to be able to play it on top of one of your characters named Stitch. There's going to be upgraded versions, like when you look at Pokemon where they evolve into different versions of themselves, like Pikachu becoming a Raichu and so on, where it builds up a lot differently in that sense. On top of one of your Stitch characters to play this on top of one of your characters named Stitch. So where it says Rockstar there, that's like a subtext to Stitch, so it would be any of your Stitch characters you can play this on top to. Now, the Shift 4, I gotta mention here, because it is pay 4 instead of what would be 6 to play this normally. So if you don't have a Stitch on the board, you pay 6 to put this on the board. But if you do have a Stitch and you just want to give him this ability, now you pay 4 instead of 6. So I'm going to guess there's a little bit of a leveling up system with the characters where you get a basic Stitch for maybe you pay him for 2, and then in this case you can upgrade him to with a 4, so that would equal 6 in the long run, so you're always paying something more. This is also a very unique thing on the side with the resource tokens, because you can see this one, you get 3 resource tokens, and I say tokens because most of the larger sets of the game is coming with a number of tokens. I believe the tokens are where you're going to be able to draw your resource. Looks like Corvella has no real change other than the rarity symbol at the bottom. Now, amber on a rarity symbol generally means it's a mythic or legendary level. Is Corvella a legendary at this sense? It doesn't look like it to me. Her ability isn't anything crazy. When this character is challenged and banished, you may return chosen character to their player's hand. Now, this hasn't changed at all, and you may return chosen character to its player's hand. That could mean your own or your opponent's in some cases, because characters do seem to level up on themselves. If you're going to bring back, in this case, Stitch, do you get all the cards back? Do you only get the top one back? I would guess you get the entire character back to your hand, which would give you more ability to put things down. This is a very unique ability in that sense, and because it's an amber symbol at the bottom, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a mythic, because it doesn't feel very mythic at that sense. However, it is only 2 to put down Corvella, and you get 1 resource out of it. So that ability, generally when it comes to Magic the Gathering, at a 2 to be able to banish a character, that's, yeah, when this character is challenged and banished, meaning if she loses the challenge or is destroyed by the challenge, then they're banished into a graveyard in this sense. So I would say that's a pretty decent ability, and there might be rating that ability very high on the scale of cards. Now with Maleficent here, we have the dragon here. It's a 7/5 to begin with. Now the dragon fire in that sense has changed. It's kind of fun because I'm taking this from the videos that have been out there, so they've animated the fire. When you play this character, you may banish chosen character. On the original, it was when you play this character, you may banish chosen opposing character. So that means a little bit different here. You've got chosen character to opposing character. So this leads me to believe that there might be curses that will happen to characters, and you may want to get rid of that curse. So now you can choose any character in the field instead of just one character on your opponent's field. So it'll be very interesting to see where this lies. Once again, we've got a gold rarity sort of symbol here, it's the 5 pentagon here, where Crovella was 3-sided triangle. So I'm thinking the shapes may mean something more than just a rarity, and the color is more of the rarity factor. The shapes are going to mean something completely different. There's also Storyborn, but I believe they were both Storyborn. So I don't know what the shape in itself is going to mean, but the level of rarity, I believe, is going to be determined by the color. So we had white looks like it's common, silver looks like uncommon. Gold, in this case, may be a mythic or legendary, and amber may only be a rare, and just switching it up a little bit here compared to other card games. Maleficent being 9 resource to put down, I think resource is going to be very abundant in this game because a lot of these cards are very high, and then you get 2 resource back. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these lie and how they work in particular. And now for the one mistake that seems to be on the new packaging. I'm not entirely sure if this is a full-on mistake. It seems the Hades on the big package for the starter sort of set that you're going to want to go out there and get, it doesn't seem to have the glimmer around his ring, and more of what we're seeing as a actionable card. But he has a shift ability built into his card, so it more is one of the characters you're going to play instead of an actionable ability. As another mistake in the previous video that I made, I mentioned Maleficent might be a green aligned ink. However, taking a closer look at the packaging for the booster packs leads me now to believe that she's going to be a blue aligned ink. Now, this is also come into contention of how many different versions of cards are going to be across different inks down the line. And someone asked the question, how many inks can you have in one deck? And it's come back with a up to 2 scenario. However, I don't believe this is a proper response because the cards and the booster packs in themselves show that they are draftable. If you can only have 2 ink colors in a deck in a draft, this will limit the drafting ability of the game. Normally a draft, you take 3 booster packs and you take 1 card out and you pass the pack to the person on your right, and then you do that again for the next pack to the left and next one to your right once again until all the cards are picked out of those packs. There's only 12 cards in each booster pack, and this makes it very difficult if you can only have 2 inks in one deck. I have a feeling that the inks might not be so important, as they might be more of just a synergy with other cards. But looking at the resources of the game, I believe you're going to gain a total amount of spendable token resource in order to cast your cards each turn. Okay, well, I believe this may reveal something. I'm not entirely sure. I am completely speculating and guessing at this. Knowing the way a trading card game works and how resources is, I know in Pokemon they have energy. I'm not a huge Pokemon guy. I don't know a lot about it. But to me, it looks like you're going to get a set amount of energy to use, or in this case, a set amount of spendable resource in a token to use each turn. And where do I get this information from? Let's go into the cards. If you look at Mickey Mouse, he has 4 what looks like resources on the side of his card. Now, if you look at the gift set, they show off the token on the box, and I haven't seen anyone really cover this. That token looks like it matches up exactly over top the resource on Mickey. So I believe the tokens you're going to get, it's going to be like a coin that you're going to spend that to cast your cards or cast your spells, cast your glimmers, cast the actionable things that you can do in the game. Well, this has gone on long enough. I think I'm going to end this here, and we'll probably end up covering another one. I know there's some cards that have been spoiled. I'm going to have to cover that in another video. I'm your proud Canadian Phoenix Cinder Shadow. I'm signing off here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share this with anyone that is very interested in Lorcana. Let's build more hype on this. Let's get to the forefront. Until next time, you guys have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm signing off here.